is the new Audi A4, one of the many models that Audi India will launch in the year 2021 as part of its product offensive. But when I say new, it's not entirely an all-new A4 or an all-new platform. This is basically a facelift version of the A4. Now, what does this facelift version offer, and will it be good enough to bring back some numbers to the Audi India sales book? Well, let's find out. Now, the new A4 being a facelift does not look radically different from the older model, but with the changes, it does look significantly different. Now, one of the biggest changes up front is this new wide single frame grille, and this is something that we're seeing in almost all of the new Audi cars. So again, yes, that goes pretty much in sync with the family design. Also, you can see the bumpers are new both at the front and the rear, and the headlamps are also new, and you get daytime running lamps with them. And if you couple that with the overall theme of the design, which is quite angular and sharp, the new A4 looks a bit more dynamic than the older model, and at the same time it also looks a little more premium. So yes, in terms of look, not radically different, but better looking for sure. Step inside the cabin of the new A4 and you will realize that the changes aren't really extensive. Now, one of the biggest changes that most people will notice inside the cabin is this new floating touchscreen. Now, this is a larger unit than the older model at 10.1 inches. And of course, as far as usability goes, it's got good resolution and it works well. It's pretty simple to use. The user interface is simple and the touch response is again decent. Now, this is pretty much the biggest change inside the cabin. Now, that's not particularly a bad thing, because when the A4 got a facelift last year, things already were made better, and as a result of that, you still have a cabin that is well put together. You can see the material quality, the fitment quality, everything is quite nice. Even the buttons feel very good to touch. The tactile feel is nice. The seats themselves are quite nice. They're comfortable, they offer good support, and in terms of space also, the A4 is quite nice. You get good space at front and rear, and in terms of space management, you also have good space in the door pockets and a lot of cubby holes around. There's also wireless charging for your phone. So yes, in terms of features and technology, the A4 is pretty nice, and it just got better as far as the infotainment system is concerned. Now, the rear seat inside the new A4 is pretty much same like the older model, because we said there's no change to it. But then again, the A4 already has one of the better seats within the segment. Now, if you see in terms of space, well, with the driving seat adjusted to my preference, and I'm 5 feet 8 inches, you can see I do have a lot of knee room to spare. There's a lot of space for my feet also to slide under the driver's seat, and the rear seat itself is quite nice. Well, this is a very good seat, I must say, in terms of cushioning and support. Even if you look at the backrest angle, it's quite nice. And one of the better things about this seat is the under thigh support. Now, this seat offers good under thigh support. So if you put all of these things together, the A4 can be a good chauffeur driven car as well, if that is your purpose for your next vehicle. And as far as the overall cabin experience is concerned, like I said, at the front it's all good. At the rear also, it's spacious, at the same time comfortable. So yes, you get a spacious, comfortable and a very modern design with a good set of features, and that makes the A4 a versatile sedan. In fact, one of the most versatile sedans in the segment. And now let's talk about the driving performance. And well, once you get behind the wheel of the new Audi A4, well, this is where you will find the biggest change, and that's the engine. Now, while the older A4 came with a smaller petrol engine with about 150 horsepower, now you get a larger 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine, and this churns out a healthy 190 horsepower, which makes the A4 a lot more engaging and fun to drive than the older version. Now, as far as the engine is concerned, well, in terms of refinement, it is top notch. Once you are out on the open streets, you're cruising, be it at cities limit speeds or at highway speeds, the engine is super silent and super smooth. So yes, it really goes well in sync with the positioning of the new A4. But for me, it is the additional power that's the most exciting part, and well, out on the road, this engine is really impressive. Now, keep in mind this is still no 3 Series because it's a front wheel drive car, uh, but yes, the engine is really nice, and off the line acceleration is crisp and smooth. The throttle response is good, and your 0 to 100 or reaching highway speeds is very easy. So yes, the engine offers you a good acceleration, great performance. The gearbox is again paired nicely. It's a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, and it does a good job. So it goes through the gears pretty quickly, and that just makes the A4 a lot more engaging and fun to drive. What adds to the driving experience is the fact that it's a rev happy engine. So yes, you can rev it up to a little over 6,000 rpm, and well, that just adds to the pleasure of driving. Of course, you also have the driving modes, which are pretty much standard on an Audi, and dynamic is the mode you want to be in if you want to have fun, but you can also choose other modes depending on as their name suggests. And in any mode, the car does a good job. And yes, for me, the key takeaway is the additional power and the fact that the A4, which in its petrol version earlier wasn't really fun to drive, well, now it is. And well, there's no diesel. For all you people who are looking out for a diesel version, there's no diesel A4 on sale. It will not be when this model goes on sale in 2021. So yes, it'll only be the petrol A4, and as for the petrol, it's gotten a lot better. On to ride and quality, well, the A4 has always been a car that has offered good balance between ride and handling, and well, the new A4, there hasn't been any update in terms of the suspension or any architectural changes inside. So well, it is pretty much the same, and it's not a bad thing because the A4 continues to be a car that is comfortable. The suspension does a good job of handling all the speed breakers, potholes, and the surface undulation in a manner that the occupants inside the cabin stay largely unaffected. And well, of course, the ride quality is a bit on the stiffer side, but once you gain some momentum, it improves in leaps and bounds. And as far as handling is concerned, well, it's not the best in the segment. I mean, it's a front wheel drive, so that has its limitations, but that doesn't mean that the new A4 isn't really engaging to drive. It is fun, like I said earlier. The engine is now more powerful, and as a result of that, you have access to more speed, and fortunately the A4 can handle speed pretty well around corners, so you can chuck the car in corners at high speed, and it again stays stable. It maintains the line. There is a good amount of grip from the tires, and the balance of the chassis is quite nice. So that means on a straight line you can go pretty fast without any really things that make you nervous. And even when you're panic braking, again, it's spot on. The car does not lose its line, and it is able to take corners at a fairly rapid pace. So yes, a good balance that you get between various traits, and that's what the Audi A4 has always been. It's never been the best driving car in its segment or the most comfortable, but it has been one of those cars which brings about a lot of things and puts them together in a package that make it really appealing for the buyer. And that brings us pretty much to the end of this video. But before I sign off, well, of course, there's the most important thing that still needs to be discussed, and that's the price. Now, the prices are still not out of because this car has not been launched yet. We are driving it in 2020, but it will be launched in 2021, and that is precisely when you will also be seeing this video. Now, if Audi can price this car at about 40 lakh rupees as a starting price point, I think they would have done a good job, because that kind of competitive pricing is what the A4 really needs to create a kind of demand for itself, or to pull consumers towards it. And the reason for that is because the competition is really stiff in this segment. You've got the Mercedes-Benz C-Class, you've got the BMW 3 Series, there's the Jaguar XE, you also have the upcoming Volvo S60, and then there's also the 3 Series limousine, which is going to be launched in January 2021. So to succeed among such a stiff competition, well, a competitive pricing is going to be really crucial, and if Audi can manage that, well, the car is quite nice. And if you are in that segment looking for a well-balanced, a well-rounded kind of experience, and you want a car that is not a master of a single trade, but is good at almost every trade and is a good all-rounder, well, that's when you should consider the new A4 in a strong manner. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button and also press the bell icon to stay updated to forthcoming Express Drives videos.